Hello, good evening, and welcome to the All Things Borough podcast, the official podcast for Farnborough Football Club, and sponsored by Tritech Consulting. Tritech takes your business visions and turns them into innovative reality. Good evening, I'm Alan. Welcome to the All Things Borough podcast. Simon, what are you doing, Simon?
He's
Just
lost.
getting myself prepared, fully prepared, pouring
What are you doing?
pouring my M&S
You're
Coke.
supposed to have this stuff. Supposed to have this stuff ready before we
No,
start.
so I had my cup of tea first, so it's good for my larynx. You see, make sure I'm fully ready so I can talk.
No,
And then
no.
I've got some cold M&S Coke there, diet of course, and my cup of tea. So I'm ready. I'm now ready. Got a couple of bananas as well, just in case I run out of energy halfway through. So yeah,
As usual, far too much detail than what anybody needs. Tom, it's been a few weeks. The last time we saw you was the Dorking game. How have you been?
Yeah, it's been quite a week since that. Actually, I've barely spent any time in Bournemouth since because of a trip to London and then Paris.
It's not a bad thing, mate. It's not a bad thing.
No, not till I can't say I'm too thrilled to be back after Paris and London. But yeah, I got to represent Farnborough in Paris. Wore my shirt at the Eiffel Tower. Not really much more you can ask for from that trip. So
That's
No.
Paris and London. It sounds like
you say yeah. Well, we should be clear though, Tom. You say you're representing Farnborough in Paris. You weren't actually competing in anything. You were just there on holiday.
I think it's representation. I took the scarf. I took the
sporting the shirt around.
I saw that picture just at the top of your head. Top of your head. That was it. And the state and the Paris Saint-Germain badge in the background.
I think you're meant to click on it and then it opens up a bit. But
yeah, right, yeah. I've done that before with some of your photographs and got a nice surprise. So I didn't want to do that again. So
Right, okay, that's enough of that. Simon, have you had a busy day today? You said off air.
It's
not true. But
as always, an extremely busy day. Yeah, extremely busy. Yeah, we're finding. I think we might actually be finally coming to the end of this trial that I'm currently on. So no, I'm just to add.
I know what this trial is that you're on, and it's been just over 18 months already. So I don't believe what you're saying.
I don't think you're meant to. You're not meant to share details of trials of others, Simon.
What have I told you that you can possibly convict me for? I'm not in the dock either. I should add. It's not something I've done. That's what I do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case anybody's thinking. I thought I recognised that bloke before. Body off play, watch face off crime, much I think they said, isn't it? That's about right.
Yeah, he's not in the dock yet. It's not for want of people trying, I don't think. But we'll move on from that before Simon starts.
I told you they never commit. They never
aiming accusations at me. Right, everybody that's watching us on YouTube, thanks for watching us. As you can see, we have got Farnborough's captain this season, Josh Casey. Good evening, Josh.
Evening. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Looking forward to tonight. Been busy day at work and then quick gym session and on with you guys. Looking forward to it.
So you said off air about this this gym session. This is something we obviously Reggie's enlightened us in on his episode what goes on in these sessions. So this is something that Ricky has set out for everybody to do.
Yeah, I'm surprised Reggie could tell you what was going on. He's normally got no idea what's happening. But yeah, Ricky puts in a session for us at the beginning of the week to do. So we've got a running session to do and then a bike session as well. So did the bike session tonight to get that one out of the way. Send in your evidence that you've done it, and then same thing for the running session tomorrow. The running session's normally a lot worse. So you try and put that off for as long as you can.
What kind of evidence would you have to send you? Do you have to literally send yourself with a selfie, like actually
just
like
on the picture bike? You looking really tired. No, you've got to send in a picture of the treadmill screen or the bike screen or like a running app that shows that you've actually done it. So you can't get away with it by just sort of chucking some water on your face and making it look like you're out of breath.
I was thinking that actually, I could imagine a few of the lads sort of get themselves straight out of the shower.
No, every trick in the book's been tried. So yeah, you need date evidence on there as well. So you can't put one in that you put in 3 weeks ago either. So yeah, it's a foolproof system.
Is this all done in your local gym, or have you got like a bike and run machine at home?
I've got bike at home, and then I'll need to go to the gym or do the run outside.
Has anybody come proper yet with actually club fines and things for not doing it or trying to fake a workout?
Haven't seen any fakes yet. It's early doors. I think we've only had, because we've been training twice a week for a lot of the season, we've only had 4 or 5 of them now, and everyone's been pretty good. We've got a lot of young players as well that are very diligent, shall I say, and want to do it and put it in. But yeah, we'll see as the season goes on. If you start to see the same picture go in, you can spot it fairly easily.
Yeah.
In your eyes, who's going to be the first to get a club fine for trying to fake a workout? In your opinion of the squad, who's it going to be?
Oh, so Jack Turner doesn't have to do them because he's a keeper. So if he had to do them, he'd be the first one. Who would it be? It'll be one of the older lads that doesn't want to do it. So probably
It's not gonna be Ricky. He's the one that's sitting them, isn't he?
Yeah, to be fair, he normally puts in a video as he's doing it as well. So he'll put in a video of him on the treadmill doing it. Guy could be up there, but yeah, he's normally quite good at doing it. Maybe Robbo, I guess. But Manny Oyeleke, he's the prime suspect, I think. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, you mentioned Guy, because we've had Guy on a couple of times on a podcast. We actually had him on when he first signed last season. We had him on again. He's been in the gym when we had him on that one, didn't he? Yeah, he's been at the gym.
Yeah.
Maybe he just popped in for a coffee. Who knows?
Popped in for a stretch. Yeah. It's probably a false accusation. I think Guy will be quite good. I'll go for Manny.
Yeah, Manny. All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Right, so what we're going to do is we want to talk about your career basically, because you've been around for a little bit, playing this game we call football. So let's take us back to the beginning.
Nice way of saying you're quite old, isn't
it? Yeah. Well, I mean, me and Simon are older than you, so I can't be too harsh. But where did it all start at the beginning?
So probably Aldershot for me. When I was 16, did a scholarship there, so 2 years as a youth team player. Cooley's dad was actually the assistant manager of the first team at the time, so
is that Martin Cooley, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ex-Farnborough himself.
Yeah, he was. We were all obviously scared of him and the first team manager because we were 16, 17, 18 and terrified of doing anything wrong. But so was there from 16 to 18, got released as most do, and then desperately sort of wanted to be a footballer. So went to Salisbury, who at the time were the league below Conference South, but still full time. So was there for a couple of years, had a promotion, got to the Conference South, and then got to sort of 2021 and realised that probably should get a job and start making some money. So got a job as a trainee accountant, working in tax. Went from Salisbury to Bashley on loan, a club in the New Forest. Then from there to Kingstonian, and then pretty much from there followed Alan Dowson, who was the Kingstonian manager at the time. Followed him to Hampton, then to Woking, and then ended up at Farnborough. So not that many clubs, considering I've been around for 16 years now. So I suppose that's one good thing.
Given that
you were Dowson, sorry Tom, what was it about Dowson then that made you follow him?
Kept giving me contracts. That was it. You can't. Dowse is great. He's a friend now because obviously playing for him for so long. But he was brilliant. He sort of gave me a chance at Kingstonian when I was at Bashley, and I did really well there for him, and we did really well. And then he asked me to go to Hampton at the time, who were sort of bottom of the league, and we got promoted from the Ryman Prem the first season. Had sort of Jamal Lowe, Nicky Kabamba, and a few other players who've gone on to play Football League and have good careers, and then made the Conference South playoffs, and it was all going well. And I missed a penalty in the playoff final in the Conference South, and then I think a week later left Hampton to sign for Woking. So didn't really do much to endear myself to the fans there after 3 or 4 years at Hampton. But that's football, I guess. Yeah, and then got promoted with Woking the following season. And yeah, the rest of the time there was sort of National League and COVID and all of that. So yeah, it sort of flew by. But Douse is brilliant. He's such a good people person. Like he's the sort of person that if you've got anything going on and you're a player for him, he'll do anything he can to help you, whether it's on or off the field. And that is rare in non-league football. A lot of people are just out for themselves, and it's take, take, take. So yeah, someone like that's worth their weight in gold.
What sort of broke the trend of when you went to Woking, not carrying on with Douse and staying at Woking until you came to Farnborough?
So I think at Woking at the time, we'd gone sort of full time, it was weird for me at the time because obviously I've got a full time job and trying to balance the two was a bit weird. But Woking was so local for me, and I wanted to try and play as high as I could for as long as I could. And if it wasn't at Woking, there isn't really any other club in that league that I could have played for that would have given me the flexibility to do it whilst working. So it was either stay at Woking or drop down a level, which at the time I didn't want to do because I thought I was enjoying it, it was going well, and it sort of you don't I think once you drop down, it's probably hard at my age to then go back up again, and you kind of know that that's it. So yeah, I wanted to try and stay there for as long as I could and maximize it. And I loved the club, loved being there. It was an amazing time for me. Played I think 250 something games again, that's rare to do for a non-league club. So yeah, I didn't want to give that up.
Was it? Did you not want to? So you were working as well as a full time player as you were at that stage. Is it? Did you not think about maybe sort of checking in the job for a bit to concentrate on the full time football, or was the contract really sort of not feasible?
It wasn't worth it financially for what Woking could pay. So it just made more sense. And I didn't want that like fear of if you don't get a contract next season, how are you going to pay the mortgage and how are you going to pay the bills and what are you going to do? Or if you get injured, what's going to happen? So for me, I wanted that security of knowing that I've got my job, I've got my career, that's what I'm going to be doing for the next however long. Whereas football, it's a short career and it can be over
career, isn't it? Yeah,
really quickly. So yeah, I was really lucky, and I enjoy where I work and what I do as well. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me to stay doing that.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of things. I've got a couple of things to throw back at you there. Obviously, you get on that. You said that financially, it wasn't sort of feasible for you to go full time professional, as I would call it. Because there's always a lot of. First question, what do you think to a lot of rumours go around that people are getting paid this, that, and the other, and it's made massive money being flown around in the league and stuff like that. It's not always the case, though, is it? In your case, obviously, probably not. Probably maybe because of the position that you play, possibly you're not going to get the big money because they'll be given to strikers, etc., etc. And also on the Woking stuff, what have you made of their financial difficulties this season with the owner? As it Drew Vellup, isn't it, the owner? And did when you were there, did you kind of see that coming, or was it a big surprise?
Well, I think the first bit about sort of the money being thrown around, it really depends on the club. I think in the National League now, with everyone being full time, bar maybe one or two that are hybrid, which is crazy. Some of the clubs are throwing silly money around, and it's crazy. They're paying more than a lot of League Two clubs are because League Two also you got the financial restrictions. You can only pay so much, whereas National League, no such trouble. And a lot of players are being paid silly money, but the majority aren't. And it's then you've got that sort of balancing act of, well, especially depending on the position you play, you're just not making enough that if you were to retire or stop playing, that you can then stop and retire. You're gonna have to go out and get a job anyway. So it's a difficult balancing act. On the Woking thing, I still speak to Drew Volk all the time. He was the owner. I think the takeover's gone through now.
Yeah, I saw something the other day. Yeah,
subject to the EGM, but I think that's a really sort of sad way for it to end because he came in with another American guy, John Katz, to try and get Woking into the Football League, and they spent a hell of a lot of money trying to do that. We went full time, which is not cheap, and got quite close, got to finish third and got into the playoffs, which for a club like Woking at the time was a massive overachievement when you look at what other clubs were spending. But it gets to the point where, you can't just keep throwing money at it in the hope that you do go up, especially when there's probably 12, 13 clubs in that league now that want to go up and think they can go up. So you've got to look at it and think, well, is this realistic for me to continue to put in endless amounts of money with no real prospect of a return on it? So I still speak to Drew all the time, and he's a great guy, and he just wants the best for Woking and wants the club to be successful. So for that to happen, it's best for him to step aside and for someone else to try and get Woking to that next level. So hopefully they do, and I really hope they do. But it was not a nice time. I know there was a lot of stress involved a few months ago around, are we going to be able to get things paid and what's going on? So yeah, just really happy that it's all sorted now, and hopefully the club can move forward.
With the mention of the 2 seasons ago when you finished third of Woking, a massive overachievement, great, because I think it was that the same season where you had Wrexham and Notts County, or maybe a season after.
Yeah,
it was before, was it? Or
was it 22-23?
Yeah, it must have been the season that, Notts County. I think it's the season Notts County went up in the playoffs, maybe.
Yeah, and that would have been when Wrexham won the league. But anyway, to besides the point, but do you think that season and being a big part of that Woking side, does that sort of helped you be a big part of this Farnborough side who seems to be doing a similar thing in the structure of the National League South instead with overachievement?
Yeah, it's a really good comparison actually. Because like you say, in the National League South now, you've got again probably 6, 7, 8 clubs that are full time spending a lot more money than we are, and we're trying to compete with that and punch above our weight. So yeah, it's a good comparison. I think as well, it's sometimes clubs will overpay for players, and you don't necessarily get that return just because you're spending a lot more money. It doesn't mean you're getting that return. But yeah, for us, we want to try and keep punching above our weight because we've got a small squad, nowhere near as much money as the other big hitters, and we're doing well. But what we do have is an unbelievable changing room, like the sort of way that we get on and the people that we've got in the change rooms are amazing, and we've got a lot of young, talented players as well. So it's just about for us older guys, try and help them improve and let them do what they're good at, and hopefully they can carry us as high as we can go.
Yeah. Sorry to cut in before Simon, but on the change room subject, do you think what do you sort of attain to achieving that great change room? Because it seems to be quite a diverse squad and different backgrounds, and you've got players like Miller, who's only known what at the time was a Premier League academy, but then you have people like Guy Hollis, who's played for the likes of something like Slough and like Godalming. How is that what makes it work, or what about the changing room does that?
It's just having good people. Like it doesn't matter where you're from in terms of level or whatever. It's just having good people, and I don't think there's one bad person in that changing room. Whether it doesn't matter where you sort of come from, whether it's Premier League or Ryman League or whatever, everyone is pulling in the same direction and just wants to win and do well. So it's really rare to find that. You don't often have a changing room where you haven't got at least 2 or 3 where you look at them and think, oh, that guy is an egg, and you don't like him, and people don't. You'll have those fractures, and you have it in most changing rooms. So yeah, it's a unique experience, and that's probably why we're able to sign the players that we're able to sign, and why people stay for so long because of that and how rare it is. It's worth more than the extra money that you could get going somewhere else, I think.
100%.
It seemed that maybe Spencer and like the two Bakers have a sort of idea of what kind of player they want to bring into the squad, and a lot of that is down to that player's sort of attitude. So when you signed for Farnborough, or before you signed for Farnborough, what was the kind of conversation you had with Spencer, and how did he win you over to come to Farnborough?
I had lots of chats with him. I think in terms of when he signs players, him or he Bakes and the other Bakes and Ricky will do sort of quite an extensive due diligence on the player that they're signing. So they'll speak to other players and managers that have played with them and find out what they're like as a person, because like most players at this level, the level below, the level above, are going to be good players. They're going to have ability, they're going to be good, but it's what they're sort of like as a person and as a character that makes the difference. So when I spoke to Spencer first, I spoke to Neil Baker as well. They already knew what I was like because they'd spoken to managers that had managed me. They'd spoken to players that had played with me. So they already knew that. And
Yeah.
I'd done the same thing my side. I sort of knew Guy, Jack Turner, Manny, I knew that was obviously signing as well. So you speak to players then as well and find out what's the changing room like, what's the manager like, what's everyone like, and make sure it's a good fit both sides. Because I think from my side, at the sort of stage of my career that I'm at, I want to be somewhere where you're trying to challenge and win things and be involved in a successful season, but also you want to be somewhere where you're with good people. And they're the sort of two priorities for me. And then the money side it's not really a factor. It's more the first two things for me.
How did I was going to ask you actually? Yeah. Go on now. Go on. Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, the last couple of colleges like Woking and Kings, was it Kingstonian? You've spent you've spent like a good spell of time at these clubs, and is that something you look for as well? That a club that you want to, like some players, they just want somewhere you can call home for a couple of years. You don't want to come to the club for just for one season and then move on, the season, then move on. Is that a big factor for you as well?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly that. I don't like changing clubs. I like being somewhere and staying there for a long time. You get to know people, you get to know players, and yeah, you really start to feel like it's home and you can enjoy it. Your family wife comes, and it's more enjoyable that way. Whereas sort of hate trying to settle in somewhere new, meet new people, go again and try and do the same thing over and over again. Sort of you see players that have 3 clubs a season, and I couldn't think of anything worse.
I was going to ask you how you moved. How did the move to Farnborough actually come about? Then did you was it something that you approached Farnborough first off, or was it Farnborough approaching you, or vice versa, and etc.
Spencer called me first, I think, or it might have been Neil Baker might have messaged me first actually and said, would you be open to it? It was after I'd sort of made the decision to leave Woking. So Woking offered me a new contract in the summer to stay, but with work and what they wanted to do, I just couldn't do it anymore. So made the decision to leave there, and I think they heard that and then sat down with Spencer a couple of times and had a few chats about it, and it was kind of a done deal fairly quickly, which is again a really really good thing. Had it done nice and early, and then was ready to come in pre-season.
When did the I was going to ask you also, because we had Spencer on in pre-season, just literally just before the season started, and obviously he took us through all the goings on that happens in pre-season. There's loads and loads of stuff going on. There's a really really good insight into what happens, and obviously one of the names that was bandied about sort of the end of last season was your name. When we spoke to Simon Gardner, the chairman, he said that he was pretty sure we were going to sign you, and we were like, oh, that's really good. So when did these conversations sort of start taking place? Are they without obviously giving too much away, obviously?
I think it was probably the day after I announced or sort of said that I was leaving Woking and had those conversations. I had the chat with Spencer, and it was pretty much done. We'd spoken I'd spoken to Neil Baker previously, just in passing almost, to sort of say if you're ever leaving Woking or whenever that stops, let us know. So I think there was the feelers were already kind of there, but it was a really easy, quick conversation, and didn't take too long to convince me.
When you sort of
thinking that you live, sorry Tom, am I right in thinking you live quite local as well?
Yeah, I live in Cobham, so we train at Cobham Football Club, so I can walk from my house to training, which is unbelievable. So 2 minute walk, and I'm there, which winds quite a few of the lads up, especially Ricky, who's driving around the M25, and walking across the road. So
Just leave your
yeah,
house
hopefully we stay.
10 minutes spare.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully we stay training there for as long as possible.
Yeah. Just jump over your garden fence straight into the training ground. Perfect.
Exactly.
I was going to say, because we're looking at sort of when you looked at the club and how you understand it's the right club, how much do you sort of take a look at sort of maybe the defenders that are already at the club and the defensive structure and the way it works and your role? Do you, as a player personally, would take a look at sort of the players Farnborough already had in that position and maybe the way they played, or is that something you sort of trust within just joining a new club and project?
Yeah, you speak to the manager about it, and then you speak to the players about it. And as part, so sort of when you're having those conversations around what's the changing room like, you also sort of say, oh, how do you play? Who have you got at the moment? Who's signed? Who's not signing? What are you trying to do next season? Is it just stay in the league, get promoted, finish mid-table? What's the ambition? So you do that as part of the whole sort of conversation around what you're going to do next. And it's sort of similar to when you have those conversations with a manager. They kind of know already what positions you can and can't play, where they want to play you. So you kind of know that they're not going to sign you if they've got 4 other left-sided defenders that they're looking at as well. So it goes both ways.
How do you feel also that you fit into that Farmer defence and sort of link up with other players, especially Eden Pruty, I think, who's a left-sided centre-back? And I wasn't at the game, but I was aware of you and his performance in getting the clean sheet on Saturday as well. And I think, is that becoming a bit of a partnership?
Hopefully with all of the defenders as well. I think we kind of started the season off really well defensively, and that was kind of our base. And we were looking at it and we weren't scoring too many goals, but we were really solid. And then we have become a bit more expansive, scored a few more goals, but then it's gone a bit wrong the other end where we've been a bit leaky, and we're aware of that. So I think from our perspective, after the 4 at Dorking and then the 3 at Boreham Wood, we kind of wanted Saturday to just be solid whilst not losing the attacking sense and giving our attacking players the freedom to go and play as a back 3, back 5, whatever we are at different times. We wanted to say sort of like enough's enough, just keep a clean sheet, be solid again and build a base from there. Because you look at the goals we conceded against Dorking, the 4 goals are criminal really, especially when we were 2-0 up with 1 minute to go until half time. We sort of gave away a corner that we shouldn't have given away, gave away a goal from a set piece. It's 2-1. It gives them the impetus. Then a crazy 6-minute spell in the second half where we concede 3 goals, and like that should never happen as a club. You shouldn't concede that many goals that quickly. So I think especially I think we have to take as although it wasn't, some of the goals were set pieces that aren't necessarily defenders marking or whatever. As a senior player and as a defender, you have to take that responsibility and say that's on us, that's our fault. So, after that, I think we then tried to change a few things and conceded 3 at Boreham Wood, and then it was you sort of read yourself the right act really and say enough's enough, stop giving away stupid goals.
The fact that sorry Tom, is it the factor that like clubs like Dorking and Boreham Wood are full-time clubs, they obviously train a lot more than you guys during the week, is that a big factor in sort of in your guys thinking in trying to sort of rationalize why things have gone wrong? Or
it is, but I don't
obviously you're trying to do professional jobs yourselves and that on the pitch and that, so it's obviously everyone can see that that's what you're trying to do, because there were a lot of unhappy Farnborough fans after those 2 games, which is understandable, but I kind of in my head you have to sort of think, well, we're a part-time club, we're coming against 2 teams that are full-time who should really be up there in the top 2 or 3 anyway. Is that too an easy way out? Too easy of a way out when you're thinking?
It is and it isn't, because I think if Boreham Wood and Dorking had played some sort of great football and they tore us apart and that's why we conceded, then you could say, well, do you know what? They're full-time, they were fitter than us, or they had some great passing patterns that we just couldn't live with because we're not training full-time. then you can almost then point to that and say, yeah, fair enough. But I think the goals that we gave away in those games, it doesn't matter if you're part-time or full-time, we should be doing better as a team to stop them. So I think that was the frustrating thing. It is like perspective's important. Like you say, Boro and Dorking will be up there at the end of the season. They're full-time. They're spending a lot more. They've got bigger squads. They're in theory should be up there. So yeah, we've losing to them isn't a disgrace, but I think it's the way we lost and the standards that we set as a changing room. We didn't feel we did ourselves justice in those games defensively.
And I think also we have to remember in both those games. I mean, we weren't at the Boro Wood game, but so I was catching up on like the Twitter updates for the Boro Wood game. But we was at the Dorking game, and it's not like we were out of the game completely. We was in the game. We were winning at half time, and me and Simon were saying at half time that if we'd gone in at 2-0 instead of 2-1, it changes the way maybe Spencer talks to you, and it's obviously the way that Mark talks to his lot. And we think if it stayed at 2-0, then we probably could have gone on and won.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. That goal before half time is massive.
It's killer.
Yeah, it really is. You go in at 2-0 and you're sort of happy, you're confident, you feel like, yeah, right, we see out the next 45 minutes and we're in a good position. But I think it changes, like you said, it changes the whole complexion and momentum of the game when they scored just before half time. So didn't do ourselves any favours there. And then I think the goals we gave away at Boro Wood weren't great either. I think we just want to try and make teams have to work harder to score goals against us, and that's what we need to do again. I think we did that at the start of the season. I think first 5, I can't remember if it's 5, 6 or 7 games, we were fairly solid, had 3 or 4 clean sheets, looked good. And I think maybe we came away from that for a bit where we're trying to be a bit more expansive. And I think we do play really good football. I think we're front foot. We've got a lot of exciting young attacking players, and you want to give them the freedom to go and play, and they've been doing that really well. So it's just finding that balance to make sure every game's not 6-5 or 4-3 or 5-0.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great watch if it is that kind of scoreline. But obviously, if we're on the winning end, so
yeah, exactly. You can get away with it if you're winning them.
I just wanted to ask you, Josh, about sort of something I don't know if you'll be fully aware of or not, but when obviously at the end of last season when you left Woking, it was a very similar time to our previous left back, Jordan Norval-Williams, leaving the club. And he was a very well-loved player at the club because he was fantastic. And I would say there was probably a lot of expectation from Farnborough fans, therefore, on your shoulders in relation to his performances. Well, I'd say you've lived up to, and sort of, it's like he's not been missing for me. But as somebody coming in, is that what, as a footballer, is that in your mentality? You recognise the guy who was there before, and that add a layer of pressure, maybe?
Not really. I think we're very different players. I think from what I've seen of Jordan, he's more of an attacking wing back / winger type of player rather than a defender necessarily. Whereas I think this season I've played more centre back or left back rather than left wing back. So I think it's not really comparing. It's comparing apples and oranges. Really, I think we're very different. I think from my side, I'm not the type of player that's going to come in and score 10 goals in a season, and that's just never been my game, and it isn't my game. I sort of pride myself on different things. I'll organize people, I'll be a leader, I'll try and help people around the changing room, I'll try and guide the younger players and do things in a different way. So I think I pride myself on being the best player that I can be. But yeah, I'm never going to try and sort of replace someone or be a player that I'm not. So yeah, it's a bit different, really.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I think we've had a lot of we've had a few players, not shall be nameless, said that they think you're a really good one-on-one defender. You're best at the club at that, and that's your biggest strength. And I watched you in pre-season play in a centre of the 3, and I thought, that could be something that Spencer might try and do with him in pre-season, which actually surprised me a bit. Because you're not like for normally defenders are bigger, aren't they? But you're quite, we'll say diminutive in stature, and a bit like myself. And
a nice way of saying short. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Simon's less than diminutive.
Mini diminutive, if you can say that. Yeah. Yeah. So, would you say that's your biggest strength, other than your leadership skills around the pitch? You think you're a good one-on-one defender, sort of can get forward if required, and just be good, mindful defensively.
Yeah, I think so. I think the last couple of games, I say I haven't defended very well. I don't think we've defended very well as a team, and I haven't personally. Sorry, before the Saturday game, I thought we were back at it on Saturday, but yeah, the couple of games before that, it was tough. There's sort of factors that are at play with that as well, but I would pride myself on that. Hopefully, I'll get back to that in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, it is something I pride myself on.
Yeah, and also I'll bring you back to your point you made about us playing good football. I think actually Saturday was a really good game. It was only people will probably look at it and think it's only 1-0 now, as nicked the goal and held on, but it wasn't like that at all. It was kind of Slough played good football, get the ball down and pass. Surprised us a bit with Scotty Davis, their manager playing at the back as well. That was a bit of a surprise. It was like an old-fashioned rude hooded libero sweeper type, wasn't he?
Yeah, driving forward with the ball all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And but I thought both sides played really good football. So we first tried to get it down and play it, and obviously we got a really good goal with Chinny and a quick free kick from Aaron Cool, wasn't it? So and then obviously Ricky's through ball, and then Chinny runs on and scores of his with his standing foot rather than his right, which is quite a nice finish actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, very good finish. Very good finish.
Yeah, I thought both teams played well. Good pass. Both teams passed the ball. It was good game, I thought.
So you've obviously come to the club as a sort of left side, left back, really. But you've been playing, like you say, you've been playing a lot of games, including Saturday against Slough, as one of the back three. Do you enjoy playing in a back three? Is it something that you've done before in the past, or is this just sort of a natural progression I don't want to say it, but
as you get older.
As you get older, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I've played there before. I really enjoy it. Really enjoy it because you almost get the best of both worlds. So if you're playing on the left side of the three, you can step in more and go and play and join in whilst defending as well. And then on Saturday, I was in the middle of the three, which again I really like because it gives you an opportunity to read the game more. So you're more that covering defender that if anything else goes wrong, you can cover and sweep up and deal with anything else that happens. So, and you get on the ball again more as well, which means you can try and start things off and play. So yeah, really enjoy both positions and probably prefer those positions now to left back. I think it's just you're more involved in the game for longer periods, where at left back you can be out of it for a while.
Is there a particular player you've played up against as a left back or as a centre back that you thought was the hardest or most difficult player, or sort of the best player that you've played against so far this season? It's probably someone from Dorking or Boreham Wood, I would imagine. Well, you didn't start against Boreham Wood, did you? I think you're on the bench for that game.
No, I didn't start against I can't remember his name, but the Eastbourne winger was a good player. I know we beat them 1-0. Was it 1-0? 2-1?
2-0. Yeah, 2-0. So, second. Third game of the season, first home midweek game, wasn't it, that one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we beat them, but I liked him as a player. His movement was really good, and sort of made it difficult to defend. But yeah, he's probably the best one so far this season.
Interesting. Yeah. What do you think of the chap for Dorking? I thought he was sensational, to be honest. Was it
Jimmy Murray?
Yeah, Jimmy Murray. Yeah, I thought he was unbelievable. Literally from like first minute, I thought, fucking hell, who's this guy? He's unbelievable.
Very quick. I've played against him a few times, to be fair. In the league above, and yeah, he's very, very quick when he's on form. He's hard to stop.
Yeah.
In terms of the pace, are any of them quicker than Richard Chin?
Chinny's sharp over 5-10 yards as well, which is the difference. So I think he's got that sort of explosive pace where you can get away from someone, and then once he's got away, you're not catching him. Similar to sort of Ricky as well. For like Ricky's pace over 5-10 yards is just too sharp, really.
Yeah. And I think. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's a bit like mine. Really, over the first meter, I'm right.
Don't start with that, Simon. Don't start.
I shouldn't have let him go.
I know. Oh no, don't start with that. No, Simon is clearly the slowest over 1 yard. Don't worry about 5 or 10.
What I was going to ask before
His
Simon
belly
started.
gets there before the rest of him anyway.
Listen, that's because it's further out than most things. You know what I mean? But it's where
Go
it
on,
is. I'm
Tom.
sure we're going to get
Go
there
on,
first.
Tom.
Before
Stop him from
Simon
talking.
carries
Go
on
on.
chatting out his arse, I was going to say, because obviously Richard Chin's pace played a massive part in the goal against Slough, and also a lovely goal. As a player, obviously he's not a part of the sort of the phase of the pitch. Is that something you look for and you understand the player has that sort of explosive speed and maybe something you could be a bit more adventurous with a pass with to unlock that player coming through and go? Is that something you really consider?
Yeah, I think you have to. It's you say it you say it in training and games a lot. It's know your players, so you're not going to play a through ball to a centre half who's really slow, and you're not going to chip a ball up in the air to a small quick winger. It's knowing who's good at what, and I think as an attacking force, you look at Chinny, Ricky, Miller. I think has been absolutely unbelievable this
Yeah,
season
me
as well
too.
for someone so young to do what he's been doing. Not in terms of the goals he scored, but the maturity he's playing with at such a young age to lead the line and do what he's doing. I think he's been absolutely unbelievable. So yeah, you look at them and coupled with Reggie as well, who's very good and. Yeah, I think we've got a lot of attacking players who can cause some serious problems.
What
Yeah, I
other
think
sort of things
with
do you?
sorry, Tom. I think with Miller, we were quite happy to see him come back because obviously he was with us on loan last season. But his signing sort of was met with a few sort of doubters. Mainly because he didn't really score last season for us while
He
he was
scored
with
one
us.
goal last year.
Got one goal and I think he got a couple of assists or something,
Yeah,
something like that as well. But yeah, so his signing or re-signing was met with a few sort of negative comments, and I think we also and I said online as well.
I said this a lot. I
This
think
this is a
I
this
didn't
is a
get it from a
player.
bit.
This is a player that's gonna score goals for us. There's no doubt about that. We could see it. Do you know what I mean? I didn't understand why no one else could. But hearing what you're saying, he does seem to have been such a huge sort of revelation to the squad and made a massive impact as
I
well.
think I
Yeah, he's
think
been.
I think work rate is such a massive part of it, and then also
Yeah,
confidence,
yeah,
especially for his age, confidence. I think because he got a goal in pre-season, a free kick against Sutton, and I think
yeah,
since then it's like he's not generally been different. It's like the Miller of last season, the Miller of new is well, obviously the
yeah.
same player, the same effort, and you could see that last year, and a lot of unluckiness. But I think he's got the confidence just to not think twice now
Yeah, the
about
way
taking
the
a
way he
shot.
holds the ball up as well and brings people into play and gets out of tight areas is he's sort of he gives us that platform and you need that when you're playing. You need your striker to hold the ball up and bring others into play and he's done that brilliantly.
I think the main part of I've noticed about his game has not been probably not all the things that the other two have spoke about, but for me, it's the fact that he's shown a bit more nous up front as a forward because he's getting up the pitch and he wins free kicks for us, and that's really important because you can then build from higher up the pitch, or you can have a breather, or you can take the pressure off the defence for a bit, and he's been really good at that. He kind of like gets the ball, holds it up, uses his body and turns and falls over legs and gets free kicks, and that's also really important for the team as a whole as well, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
Um,
He would have used last season as a real learning curve because it was before he came to us. I think it was just Luton
he, he,
Academy that
he
he
hadn't
was
played.
with.
I don't think he played men's professional at that point yet.
Yeah, so he hadn't.
Really.
Yeah, so last when he came to us last season, it was sort of his first sort of
Taste of it.
exposure to men's senior football. Regardless of the level that we're at, yeah, we're at National League South, but he'd only been used to Luton Academy and the academy football that he's played there. So to do what it's in his second full season, or his first full season with us in this league at this level, what he's done is nothing short of amazing.
Yeah,
There's a
it
lot.
really is.
It's a really good academy as well because we had a player called Connor Lawless a few years ago. He's quite talented, and there was a player at Woking last year, I believe. I forget the name, but I
Jaden
signed him.
Luca.
I
Yeah,
signed him
Jaden
Farnborough
Luca.
Football Manager, and he's unreal. And
Yeah,
I've noticed a lot of the Luton Academy. But I had a different
yeah, he's
question
really
for you
good.
from that, Josh. I was going to ask if, let's say, fingers crossed, the best possible result, Farnborough get promoted this season. Where would that sort of rank amongst your career achievements? How would that sort of how would you feel about that amongst maybe like the promotion with Woking for National South?
It's a good question. So I think the Woking promotion Conference South year
Eighteen,
was so
19.
good. Yeah, 18, 19 maybe because we'd put together the squad from scratch. The club had just gone down. It was kind of on its knees a bit in terms of there was a real sort of bad feeling around the place. And that sort of same year we got into the FA Cup third round as well as getting the promotion. So to do that was amazing. But I think yeah, I think if Farnborough were to go up, it would be up there just because of the clubs we're competing against and the sort of yeah, the lack of what we've got versus what everyone else has is huge. And I think it would definitely be up there.
Yeah.
And
I think
not to make this
go on, Tom.
sorry, Simon. Not to make it, not maybe not to suggest maybe a sour question, but if it came to it, would you step up and take a penalty?
Yeah, I would. I would. Well, we've got potentially that could. I might actually regret saying this because we could go to penalty Saturday, couldn't it? So we
Yeah, against
we
Salisbury.
practiced penalties last week at training, and I think we're doing it again this week as well. So we'll see if who's on the pitch and who wants to take one. It's so hard though because you can't replicate what an actual penalty feels like when
Ah,
you're doing it in training as much as we try and just batter each other before someone's about to take a penalty in training to try and just do anything to put them off or make it
Yeah.
seem real. But it's hard to replicate that.
Just
I
to go
imagine.
back to your Woking days, just a quick question: was Martin Tyler was he coaching there at the time?
Yeah, he was there the whole time. He was at Hampton as well and
Yeah.
Kingstonian there as well. Yeah, yeah. He's
What
always
was he?
been
What was
sort
he
of
like? Because obviously he's a commentator by trade, isn't
Like a
he? So
pundit, yeah.
but yeah.
yeah.
So what was he like as a coach?
It's really crazy the first couple of times you meet him and you hear him talk.
Yeah.
It's so weird. You're just used to hearing that voice on TV. So it takes a lot of getting used to, but yeah, he's like great guy, knows football inside out because it's been his life for however many years. So yeah, he knows absolutely everything. He was great to have around, and it always really good for any coach journeys to away games because he'd sort of give you a quiz question to the back of the bus and leave you for an hour being like, oh, what four Premier League players beginning with the letter A have scored hat-tricks in a red kit or something crazy like that? And yes, he was good value.
Brilliant stuff.
Amazing.
Uh, and also, but going back to the working days, what was it like facing that Wrexham side?
Yeah, it was good. I think we had them a couple of years, beat them at home, and then the year they won the league, we were the only team to take a point off them
Yep.
at their place. So
Hmm.
we did quite well against them. But it was great. Sort of the atmosphere around that club and the ground when you went there was incredible. It was sort of
Really?
I can't remember how many thousand were there, but it's sort of you hear that roar when the ball
Hmm.
goes in for them and the silence when it goes in for you, and it feels like you're playing a serious game. So it was brilliant.
Is that sort of the biggest atmosphere or maybe the biggest stadium you've been at or faced in a game?
So I had Sheffield United
Oh,
away
oh,
when
that
I
is.
was yeah, I didn't get on, so I was on the bench FA Cup game for Salisbury. We went to Sheffield United, and I think Harry Maguire was in the Sheffield United team at the time. So that was good. I remember the like warming up down there as a 19-year-old and you'd get fans screaming at you, I'm making more money than you and you're not even a proper footballer and things like that. So that was um that was good fun. But yeah, I think Sheffield United away, Wrexham was good. Chesterfield was always a good game
Yeah.
as well. Like that's always a good one. Oldham was good as well. And yeah, there's been quite a few good ones. There's quite a few big sort of old football league teams now in the National League. So you
Hmm.
get quite a few good away days.
Do you like going back to the old grounds? You mentioned Oldham there, so they're always still at Boundary Park, and Chesterfield sadly have moved out and they've got a new stadium. Would you prefer going back to the old style stadiums because when the fans are sort of right on top of you almost? Would you prefer the newer grounds?
The older grounds are nice. Like you say, you got the fans on top of you and you can really hear. I'm I'm the sort of player that I don't know why I get a lot of abuse and people tend to not like me. So yeah, I normally get quite a lot of grief, and I really enjoy it. So yeah, the closer the fans are, the better. I think Notts County away as well
Oh,
is a great one. That's a sort of proper stadium where
Mm.
yeah, you can really hear the noise and everything. So
Yeah, I've been to Notts County. I did a bit of work up in Nottingham last year, so I've been to Notts County a couple of times to watch them midweek, and it's a weird one with Notts County because they've got a massive fan following up there. It's huge. Obviously, they're sort of the second club in Nottingham, unfortunately for them, but they still carry a massive fan base. And weirdly enough, the grounds are like flipping like a stone throw from each other as well, which is really odd.
yeah,
But the Notts County's that ground was built fairly old time ago, so it's actually a fairly old ground, but it's not. It looks quite new. It's all seater as well, isn't it?
yeah,
Their stadium. So yeah, it's a proper stadium, not a ground really. It's yeah, I found it quite odd going in there. And it's proper. They got some. I mean, they had a big week game. It was I think they played Bromley actually that I went to watch, and it was pissing down with rain. It was horrible, but they still had like 10,000 there on a blooming Tuesday. It was mental. So,
yeah.
yeah.
The year we went there when they went up, I think we were 0-0 at half time, and we came in thinking we've done well here, 0-0 at half
Mm.
time. We'd we had nothing left. Went out for the second half, and I don't think we touched the ball. We lost 3-0, and I think we maybe completed two passes in the second half. We just could not
oh,
get near them, and it was yeah, it was tough. I think they had John Bostock in centre
oh,
midfield, and
he's unbelievable footballer.
Yeah.
he just did not give the ball away, which
Langstaff up front as well. Then as well.
he
He's
was up
brilliant.
front.
He's so good. I'm not surprised he got a move to the Championship. He's at Millwall now.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
he's unbelievable. Even I was speaking to the fans that were sat around me, and they were all saying this guy's unreal. Honestly, he'd go through on goal. He was never ever going to miss. He literally was one
yeah,
of them. It was
My pick of that team is always Jody Jones, and what he
left side,
does.
yeah.
yeah.
He's I think he could be Championship as well. Personally, is he? Do you say he in that sort of aspect of conversation, like Simon asked earlier, best player maybe you faced this season? Of all your entire career, because obviously you've been to some great places, played some great teams. Who is that one player you'll be able to say, wow, he was someone else, the best I've ever played?
It's an interesting one. Will
You can name a few.
Hughes.
Name a few if you
Yeah,
like.
Will Hughes was up there, and it's
Mm.
crazy. We played against Watford, and you've got players on there that fans you see on social media be like, "Oh, Tom Cleverley, at like average player." Think, hold on,
Yeah.
this guy's played for Man United in England. They're not average players,
Yeah.
and you sort of you realize then when you go up against them, like there's levels to this game, and yeah, the people that social media think are average are still unbelievable football players, and like playing against Tom Cleverley and Will Hughes, and like I think Delafeu may have come on or whatever, but like
De La Fey as
you
well.
just their touch is perfect. Players that you don't think are quick are still very quick, and they're just make the right decisions all of the time.
Mm.
Did you get one off Troy Deeney? Did he try bouncing off you? Because I couldn't have tickled if so.
He came on the last 10 minutes, I think, and scored. So he put the nail in the coffin, made it 2-0.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's funny you've mentioned some names there actually that probably people wouldn't think. Oh, they're probably thinking like, oh yeah, Messi or Ronaldo, that sort of level, or oh yeah, Frank Lampard, God, he was unbelievable. But you've actually mentioned names there that people would probably think, oh, actually, they are pretty average. But when I watched Tom Cleverley on some video on the socials a few weeks back, and he was knocking the ball over a flipping over some massive gazebo, and he was like one touch out, and he was banging it back over. It was honestly, it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
surprised you mentioned him. To be fair.
That's the thing, and people look at Messi and Ronaldo, and they then see Tom Cleverley and think, "Oh, he can't do that, so he's rubbish." It's like that's not how it works. It's just that
doesn't equate.
those other ones are just superhuman.
Yeah, they're just like they're the next level above them. Yeah, exactly.
Aliens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're right.
Yeah,
I've also heard a lot
remember even like like you say, these players that these so-called fans are calling average, but these players are or have been elite trained. They're elite athletes, even
exactly.
at a later age. You know what I mean? They still can produce more than better than what most can do, and you've come across them, so you've faced them, so and that's a good thing in your book, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's your pre-match meal, Josh? What do you normally go for before a game?
Really boring. Scrambled eggs and beans on toast.
No.
So that most of the time, or I'll have porridge. So nice and standard, but I have to eat before 11. Can't eat anything after 11.
Ah,
If it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, and then that's me done for the day. So I see some players that are eating at 12:30, quarter to 1, and I'm like, I don't know how you can do that and still run around in an hour.
yeah, yeah. You're a bit of a breakfast
maybe they
man then,
know they're
Josh.
on the bench.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So maybe they know they're on the bench.
Yeah, yeah. Well, not in the
That's true.
squad.
You're a breakfast man then, Tom. See, I like breakfast, but I like 2 lots of breakfast. So.
Try 4, Simon. Try 4. Try it. But so like on a match day, like 'cause I don't know how it works like in other clubs that you've been at, but so on a match day, how does it work? Like, is the squad picked before Saturday, or is it a matter of everyone turning up and then see how everybody is, and then
Yeah,
Spencer makes the decision then?
yeah. It'll vary club to club, but at Farnborough we will. So you get a rough idea at training. So if
Mm,
you do some shape stuff at training, you kind of might know roughly what
mm,
it's going to be, but you don't know for certain. And then yeah, you turn up Saturday, everyone meets, and then Spencer will announce the team, and you go from there. I've been at clubs where maybe sometimes managers will announce the squad on a Friday. So if you're not in the squad, you know what you're doing at the weekend. If you've got
mm.
bigger squads, and some will announce the team on a Friday as well, but that's quite rare because then you risk the players that aren't in the squad going out on the Friday night or saying they're
Yeah,
injured or saying they're ill
yeah,
or not
Mm.
not
yeah.
coming.
Yeah, I think
No,
I've been at clubs like like Dorking, for example, where they've got a large squad. I should imagine Mark White would be doing the similar sort of things what you just mentioned. There would probably announce a squad of maybe I don't know 16, 17 people before on a Friday night, so the players who aren't in the squad know, and then they'll sort of do the rest on match day, I suppose. Um,
Yeah, you'd normally have one extra just in case then someone calls in
yeah,
ill or injured or whatever,
yeah.
and then yeah, everyone else is
yeah.
not in the squad.
What's the plan normally match day? Then you sort of arrive about you guys arrive about sort of 12:30, quarter to 1, don't you normally? And then you just go from there, just sort of mill around, or you just mill around for a bit, or what do you normally get up to before then and kick off?
Used to be when I first joined, there was cricket in the changing room, so we
Yeah.
yeah did that, which I've never done before in a changing room. It was great fun. Did that for a while, and then yeah, you arrive when you arrive. 12:45 then is lunch, so people that can eat will eat beans, eggs, whatever on toast before we start. Grab a coffee. Normally the football's on, the early kickoff's on in the bar, so you can watch that. And then about 1:30, everyone kind of goes in, starts getting changed, getting ready. Team talk at quarter to two, and then yeah, out for 10 past, quarter past 2.
Who does all the warm up stuff? Do the management team have all have different roles, or as I always see,
Steve Baker, man.
Bakes and Neil.
Yeah,
I see Steve and Neil go out there and do some bits. I know they've got probably got different responsibilities, different roles, or does it all get matched? Does it vary from game to game?
Steve does the warm-ups, but everyone's sort of a creature of habit on match days. People are really superstitious, so it's kind of you do the same warm-up
Yeah,
every single match day without fail. You don't change anything because you give players then a sort of lose their mind if you've done the. I remember telling Bakes a few players had said, "I put the warm up on the wrong side of the pitch. We can't warm up on that side. It's got to be on the other side." And then Bakes has got to go and move it. So it's very you do the same thing each time and don't change anything.
have you got
Have you got
any?
any superstitions?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Yeah, good question.
Yeah, left side of everything has to go on first. So left sock before right sock, left boot, right boot, all of that. That's about it really. Some others have got some weirder ones, but yeah, that's fairly straightforward for me.
You can't leave us hanging there, Josh. Go on, keep going. Who's got the weirdest ones?
I can't do it, but I'd speak to Ollie Pendlebury. I think he's the one with the most from what I've
Maybe
heard.
not. Maybe if you're not. I mean, you've dropped a big hint there, but maybe if you're not going to name anyone in the farmer squad, out of all the other teams that you've played at, who has been the weirdest one for superstitions or something like
Or generally odd behaviour will do.
Odd behaviour. Oh, haven't had too many bad ones. You got the strikers are normally the worst ones because they have to do everything in a certain way, have to wear the same things. So, like some strikers will be like, I have to wear tracksuit bottoms in the warm up, and I have to get this tape on me, and I have to be the last one out. So I can't. Everyone else has to leave the change room before I leave. I'll only go to the toilet in a certain store. I can't go anywhere else other than that one. So they'll wait for someone to finish in that one rather than go anywhere else. It's
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, people's toilets habits have bemused me. Actually, to be fair, it's like don't not like when you're going for a piss and you even at some of the games, you never have someone in the middle. You know what I mean? It really bugs
can't
me.
do that.
You
Yeah.
got
I think what we're all taking
people
from that.
desperate. You got people desperate for the toilet. Just go. You know what I mean? I'm one of them. I'm one of them.
I think what we're all
Down
taking
the
from
middle.
that, Simon, is you need to stop spending so much time in the toilets and
Yeah.
only go in the toilets when you need to go.
That's the bigger question.
It's the safest place to hang about with people like you around. I tell
you. I had one last question personally for Josh, and I think it's probably something a lot of Farnborough fans want to hear. As you are club captain, purely, what does it mean to be club captain for Farnborough?
Yeah, it's a big honor for me. I think, especially coming in with this being my first season and the group of players that you've got, it's a massive responsibility. I think, especially with the amount of leaders that could also be captain. Like you've got Jack Turner, Guy Hollis, Ollie Robinson, like Ricky Holmes as well. There's so many experienced players that have been at Farnborough longer than me that could easily have that job. So yeah, it's a massive honor for me, but it's the old cliche of it's not one captain. Like the players that I've mentioned are unbelievable to have around because they make it so easy. Like Guy and Robbo and Ricky are phenomenal in the changing room with helping younger lads. It's not sort of a big weight to carry in terms of responsibility because you can lean on them so much and they do so much around the club that no one sees that contributes as well. So yes, it's a massive honor, but it's definitely not sort of me doing everything and no one else doing anything at all because they're so good.
It's one of the big reasons why Guy was brought in as well, and obviously he's a good footballer and good for the level. But one of the reasons why he was brought in, I think, was probably for his leadership and of course because he's one of the senior players as well, and the fact that he can take younger players under his wing and help them and stuff like that. And it's the same with Ollie and Jack as well. But all of these guys, like yourself, have all worn the armband at various points during their Farnborough career as well. So, like you say, it's almost like a leadership group that you've got between a lot of you.
It really is, and as well, especially because we've got so many young players, it's almost like we've got that core of sort of experienced players, and then a massive group of younger players. We do sort of old v young games in training, and I think we had a couple of 23-year-olds on the old team the other day, which is to think about. But yeah, it's important to have that leadership group that help out with everything.
Well, Simon,
I was going to ask one last question, but I've forgotten it. Yeah. I was engrossed in what you were saying there, and it's completely left my head. So, yeah.
Well, we'll leave it on this, Josh. How are you enjoying your time? Obviously, we're in a good position at the minute. We are playing well despite a couple of odd, indifferent results this season. But we are doing well in the league. Are you enjoying your football with the club and with everybody else? And are you enjoying playing at the ground as well? Because like you said earlier, you like the grounds where fans are on top of you, and you don't get more on top of you than Cherrywood Road.
Such a good ground as well. I think you look at it's got to be one of the best grounds in the league. I think, especially the pitch as well. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So yeah, I'm loving it. I really enjoy the club. The fans have been brilliant. Everyone that I've met so far has been so sort of welcoming and supportive. And yeah, the players are great as well, not just as players, but as people. So yeah, I'm loving my time, and hopefully I'll be here for a long time.
I was going to say, is this another club that you can add a few more years to it?
I really hope so. Yeah, I really do. I'll stay for as long as they'll have me, I think.
I think that's sort of received by the Farmer fans as well. You'll stay as long as we want you, and we want you.
Yeah, could all change in a few games.
Yeah, could all go wrong at Salisbury.
Yeah, it'll be Josh misses a penalty at Salisbury and get him out.
You looking forward to going back there? You looking forward to going back? One of your old clubs?
Yeah, I am. I've first time back, which is crazy. I think the club's
is that at the Raymac as well, first time since.
Yeah, the Raymac. Yeah, I think the club's unfortunately gone bust a couple of times since I left. So yeah, first time I've been back there. So I'm sure no one will remember me because it was so long ago anyway. But yeah, it'll be nice from my own perspective to go back.
Good.
Brilliant stuff. Right, I think we'll end it there, Josh. Thanks for coming on tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure listening to you talk about your career and that, and I'm sure the lads will echo this. We hope, we say, like you said, we hope you're here for the next few years for sure.
I appreciate that. Thanks very much for having me on.
Thanks for coming on.
Right, don't go away, Josh. We'll have a little chat before after we finish. But this episode was sponsored by Tritech Consulting, taking your business visions and turning them into innovative reality. For more information, visit tritechconsulting.co.uk. Simon, Tom, say good night.
Cheerio. Thanks for listening.
Josh, again, thanks for coming on. Thanks to everybody that's been watching us on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as well. And we will be back next week with another episode. See you all soon.